Simply put, a abysmal adaptations of A Tale of China. It's not accurate at all, not one bit of true accuracy.
I wonder if it's accurate.
The censored The Tale Japan would have dove this sort of thing more true to the true tale. Disney needs not do adaptations since they're so poor at that sort of thing.
I'll need you to slow that down
This
for
is like
me.
Cloud Atlas, the true truth.
It is just shocking this movie is so loved. Avoid this trash, Ike the Plague.
Ike the Plague.
Ike the Plague.
That's a good nickname for like a kid named Ike. Ike the Plague.
Ike
Here he
the
comes.
The bully of the school ground.
That is a 1-star review from IMDb. Hello and welcome. We are Spoilers Intended, a podcast about series and films. I'm Steven, joined as always by Andrew.
Hello.
And Ryan.
I'm Ike the Plague now.
I'm really disappointed in both of you.
Why?
Dishonor on you. Dishonor on your family.
Dishonor on your cow. I
almost did it, but I couldn't remember the perfect. Like,
See,
the whole
I
line.
always want to do it in the wrong order.
Yeah.
I was really hoping one of y'all would pull the now all of China knows I'm here.
Oh, that would have been a good one too. Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
I was still hung up on this 1 star. Like I hadn't moved past it
I
emotionally.
mean, we have to talk about Ike the Plague. Like,
So
It's like a good wrestler's name.
and Ryan opening up core memories of Cloud Atlas.
That's the true over there. I watched Andrew's brain like a walnut go right now.
so there's a there in there. That's not a they are. It's just a ERE. Doe. It's just DOE.
Nice.
Pretty sure they want it done.
Doe,
The-
a
the-
deer, a
They could have just been having a very sporadic keyboard, and they
Or
just
they're
didn't proofread.
they're
Or they have
just
the worst autocorrect ever.
So angry. So I actually typing this in, autocorrect was just like, yeah, those are all words. Don't worry about the syntax. It's fine. You're doing great.
All tracks. It's
You're
all
doing
great.
great. So, in case we haven't given this away with at least a couple of references, we're talking about 1998's Mulan.
Disney's Mulan. This is our first real Disney film in a long time, because I don't count Pixar films like, and I don't count stuff that is under the Disney umbrella.
So
Right,
what would you
like
say is
they-
under the Disney umbrella?
I mean, literally everything.
But like, okay, so you're saying like no Marvel. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So we've done what? Treasure Planet a long time ago.
We did Treasure Planet.
Meet the Robinsons.
Yes, Meet the Robinsons.
Which those are both pushing into deeper into
Post-Renaissance.
CGI. Yeah, also
Yeah.
well past the Renaissance point.
We did Emperor's New Groove.
Oh, now see that was
And
that's
Atlantis.
classic. And Atlantis. Oh, man,
Yeah,
we did. We have
yeah.
done
See, we
some
did
good
all the stuff like post 2000.
We haven't reached back to like Lion King.
Yeah.
Or,
Yeah.
But
Aladdin.
the reason why we're doing this is because Ryan has never seen Mulan before until now.
I meant to make a note about what episode it was that we discovered that, and now I can't remember what it was.
I have no idea.
Oh.
I don't know. It was.
I don't-
It's recorded somewhere. I think that it was
Probably,
on
yeah.
in the episode. It may have been an unscripted or
Or
something.
did it come up in a chat first and then we discussed it on an episode?
Maybe I'm not sure.
I
Either
can't
way,
remember, yeah.
we discovered that Ryan, as a 41-year-old man,
Yeah.
has not seen Mulan,
And that we
that's
had to remedy that.
Terrible.
Yeah.
Terrible.
Now I've seen it twice.
Oh,
Twice?
really? You watched
Really?
it twice?
Yeah.
That good, huh?
Well,
All right. Well, let's get into it.
we'll
So,
get to that.
we're gonna get to it right now. So quick reactions here.
Andrew?
Oh, I love
love
this
it.
movie. This is I will throw this movie on at basically any point and just listen and sing.
Nice. It was pretty good.
I mean, I like it a lot.
Yeah.
I won't say this. I don't think this is like a top 5 Disney.
This
but
for
it's
me
not
it is
far from it.
Yeah, for this one, there's just something about I don't know. Like I think I really like the songs in it compared to something like I'll say like Little Mermaid or
I think I would agree compared to Little Mermaid.
See, I would
Yeah.
disagree on that.
But like
So-
an Aladdin or
yeah, like
Lion
Aladdin's
King.
like number one. I think I don't
Yeah.
think
It's almost got to be.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of parallels there too. We'll get into that a little
Yeah.
bit. But like the casting of Eddie Murphy, they wanted to recapture Robin Williams,
Yes.
but
Kind
not
of, yeah.
hire Robin Williams.
I think they did a pretty good job.
I think it was a
Pretty
pretty
good.
good call, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, well, let's get into a little info on the movie. So, quick synopsis. To save her father from death in the army, a young maiden secretly goes in his place and becomes one of China's greatest heroines in the process.
Heroines?
Heroine.
Heroines.
He said heroines. Heroines.
So this is directed by Tony Bancroft and Barry Cook. Bleh.
What is Tony Bancroft? Has he done anything else?
So both of them as a director, they really don't have a whole lot.
I think they have a lot of like writing credits.
They have
the
a
name
ton,
sounds familiar, but I don't know of anything.
They
off
have
the
a
top of my
ton
head.
of storyboard and like artist credits.
Yeah.
They've done a ton of work on a lot of basically all Disney animation.
Well, yeah, because around this time, this is when basically a lot of the directors were also doing a lot of the animating.
And this is also Florida's animation's first film.
It was because I went to Disney in 1996 when they were working on the film.
And you could go do the tour.
You go through the tour and you could watch them do Cells of Mushu, which was really cool.
You could look into the cartoonist's room like they're in some kind of weird zoo. Like, we're paying you to animate this, but also children are going to stare at you through glass.
So
and
make
leave
it
their
good.
Some dude's like, if you give us $4, I give you some crackers. You can feed the animators. Put it through the slot. Don't stick your hand in there, kid.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Catch your fingers after.
I'm pretty sure right after, because this was when it was still MGM Studios, not Hollywood Studios.
Yeah.
And pretty much right after that, when I think they moved over to Hollywood Studios, they got rid of that entire tour. Because when I went, it was Hercules and Mulan, which were the two big ones that they were trying to push. So there was a ton of like animators and that kind of stuff doing it. It was really cool.
And now Hercules came out before Mulan?
96.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that when you were there, it was like they just wrapped or were wrapping
so,
Hercules?
so it was out, but they had like a lot of featurettes and very specific like animated sequences that they could show the full product. Where for Mulan, it was like, hey, these are some really cool storyboards that we're doing.
Work in
Like
progress.
the rough sketches.
Gotcha. Okay, cool.
So this movie stars Ming-Na Wen, Eddie Murphy, B.D. Wong, Miguel Ferrer, James Hong, Pat Morita, and many others.
That's actually a pretty
Anytime
stacked cast.
a movie has
Honestly,
James Hong in it, I'm on board.
Right?
Yeah.
But I mean, we got Wax On, Wax Off in here.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, he's the emperor, isn't he?
correct.
Yeah.
Music is by Jerry Goldsmith.
Yeah, he did a lot of
He's
the
a
Disney stuff.
prolific.
I was going to say, he did a lot of Disney stuff, right?
I mean, he did a lot of other stuff too, including The Mummy,
Oh, man, that's a good soundtrack.
Air Force One.
Okay.
Get off my plane.
I don't think he wrote that.
What if he did, though? Would you feel really bad?
I think wild. He's like banging out something. He's like, what if he just said like, get off my plane? He's like, hey,
He's got a
Harrison, come over
violin.
here.
He's standing behind the rider. Hey, what about this? This is free. Get off my plane. And then he goes, chun chun, just like that. And the rider's like, I guess, write it down.
Put it down.
I'm Jerry Goldsmith.
So this movie had a budget of $90 million.
90 mil.
What? That's actually way higher than I was expecting.
I mean, well, you got to remember the big shift to CGI was hand animation so expensive. And this,
I mean, to be fair, yeah, this was hand animated, so
yeah, there is some CGI work in here.
there is. Yeah, they were very proud of it back then.
What was the Disney the CAP system, computer animated something production suite? It was like they used it on
something like that.
It started on Little Mermaid, and I think they used it through
used it
all-
through
pretty
Lilo
much
and
all the way-
Stitch.
Yeah.
No, maybe right before that, but it was like all the '90s ones for sure.
So they actually wrote a specific program that they named Attila in order to animate the Huns.
Yeah, because
Okay.
that was
So
one of their
specific
big.
sequences, yeah.
That was one of their big CGI things that they were really proud
Because I
of.
remember all the behind the scenes stuff where they would show like that and like the wildebeest from Lion King
Yeah,
Stampede.
and her shooting the cannon up onto the mountain and the avalanche part of it, that was CGI.
Yeah. But it brought in a worldwide box office about $304 million.
A really good return.
That's pretty solid. It's not.
It's not like it's
phenomenal.
not Lion King levels.
Now,
Nothing is
this is
Lion King
'98.
levels.
Did this release in China? I'm
So,
curious about that because like I don't know if China was like
I'm pretty sure it
happy with it.
did.
just open to U.S. films
Yeah.
yet at that point.
I'm pretty sure it did. If one of y'all want to
Yeah, I can look it
start
up.
doing some searching while we maybe talk a little bit. Or
This
I
is,
guess
this is when we need a producer that just like looks up stuff.
Some
those
guy
stuff
behind
to
like
us.
a glass over
Yeah.
here that we can
passes
be
us a
like,
slip of paper. I'm getting something from the box.
yeah.
So Ryan, as a Mulan neophyte,
Neophyte.
let's have some spoiler-free thoughts here.
Okay. I think I really like the characters. I really like the story. I like the plot where it goes and like a lot of that stuff. I think I'm mixed on like the animation because I appreciate what they were going for with the art style.
Right.
But I think I prefer the older 90s Disney movies art style.
So kind of a little bit more to like like Rescuers Down Under.
Well, so I went back and I watched a little bit of Little Mermaid, a little bit of Aladdin, a little bit of, and I was like, oh yeah,
Man,
I like
we
this
sent,
better.
we sent Ryan on a journey.
You did for real.
I mean, well, no, to be fair, I mean, Aladdin is. I mean, it's basically
really
the
hard
perfect
to-
film.
no,
Yeah.
hard to top.
I think for me, there's like multiple scenes in Mulan that look really good, and then there's other scenes where it's like the background is kind of blurred. I think they're trying to go for like a depth of field.
They were.
And there's no hard edges on the backgrounds. And so for me, it ends up looking like a cell of animation just over a background and not a cohesive part of a scene. Does that make sense?
Do you think that they went for a bit of a watercolor look with a lot of the
Little bit,
backgrounds? Because the intro, a lot of that is watercolor on rice paper. So they're trying to go for like a traditional feel.
Yeah.
And I think some of the backgrounds they work, but it does kind of end up making things feel maybe a little sparse at times.
Well, there's just a few shots where like the background looks really detailed in one scene and then it cuts to another and it's very plain.
Yeah.
And it like the contrast
little
makes
jarring.
it feel and because the characters all have the hard outline around them, it feels like they're sitting on top of a layer instead of being part of it, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Songs, I'm a little mixed on also. I think this
I
is
don't-
why.
what?
And here's why. Hear me out. Because I watched it twice. Because like I got to confirm my feelings here. Because my wife was upstairs singing the songs from the other side of the house.
As you do with Mulan.
And the second time I watched it, I watched it with her.
Did she find out that the reason we're watching is because you've never seen this film?
Oh yeah, she knew I hadn't seen it. Because
my
we've
gosh,
had the
she
whole Disney
married you?
discussion. Yeah.
Jeez.
So I think for me, if I had a little more nostalgia for this movie, the songs would resonate
Hit a
more.
little harder.
Yeah,
This
I'm sure.
being the first time I've heard any of these songs, like ever in my life, I was like, okay.
Yeah.
And so the second time I watched them, because I was talking to my wife about it after the first time I watched it, I was like, yeah, it was all right. I was like, the songs didn't really do it for me. They didn't really hit, you know. And she goes, what? How? And I go, well, like I don't even remember any of them. And I tried to think of like, there's one about being a dude or something, being a man. And she was like, that's the song. I was like, I can't think of any lyric from it. It's just not sticking on my brain. And I was like, I could sing all the songs from Little Mermaid, Lion King.
Well, yeah, but you
know,
also grew up with
are
those.
right. And that's
watched
what
them.
I was trying to make the point of like, I think because I grew up with them and I've seen them so many times and I was like, maybe it's just like a
So
repetition thing.
we're gonna put a pin right there.
Hold on, I'm not
and
done.
We're gonna retrospective Ryan in like a year. I'd be like, so let's give me some Mulan songs. He's gonna be like, let's get down to business.
So upon second watch, that song stood out,
Yeah.
obviously, because that's the one. And the rest of them were okay.
Yeah.
And I think for me, this is where I'm at ultimately. I think it's a confluence of factors with how I feel about this movie. I think I appreciate this movie a lot more than I enjoyed the movie. Does
I
that
get
make
it.
sense?
Yeah, I can understand that.
And I think it's because, number one, I think it might have been a little overhyped for me. Because I think you guys talked about it a lot, and then my wife talks about it a lot. There's been so many think pieces written about it, like it's the best of the 90s Disney animation.
No, I definitely don't agree there.
Now, anyone who says
Yeah.
that is just lying.
Yeah,
no.
that's completely wrong. And I
Agreed.
love this movie,
Yeah.
but I completely understand that it's probably in the top 5 of the decade.
Right.
But even then, like, it's definitely nowhere near the best.
Right. And so I would say of the 90s ones that I've seen, it would be last place for me. But that's because it's behind
you seen-
Aladdin,
Yeah.
Little Mermaid,
well-
Beauty and the Beast, Lion King. Really,
Hercules.
that's the 4.
You
I've
haven't
never
seen
seen
the Hercules
Hercules
series.
series.
Oh my gosh. All right, we haven't reviewed that here, but put that on the list.
Yeah, it's
Add
on
it
the
to
list.
Schedule.
So
It's been on the list. It is
before
the
we go any
list.
further, did Mulan 1998 do well in China?
Yeah.
Finally, after a year's delay, the Chinese government did allow the film in a limited Chinese release, but only after the Chinese New Year, so as to ensure basically all local films dominated the holiday box office. And the box office income for Mulan was very low due to both unfavorable release date and a rampant piracy.
So,
Oh, interesting.
China, like the Chinese government, had a bit of an axe to grind with Disney. I don't remember the name of what it was that they had helped like release or market in the Chinese market that was they didn't like. I can't remember what it was. It was like the year it was 97, I think, when it came out. And so they kind of tried to like make some overtures to the Chinese government, like, hey, we're making like a Chinese film, you know, like, hey, and they're like, no, don't care.
Cool story.
You're gonna bring your subversive Western ideals.
How much did that cost you?
nerds?
90 million.
So for me, like
Yeah.
I really do genuinely just love this movie. I think because it's just such an easy watch.
Yeah.
Because the story is very linear and it's very easy to follow, even when you're kind of like, if I'm doing something
it's not
else.
complicated.
No, not complicated at all. And I love, obviously, like the main, let's get down to business.
Yeah.
But I genuinely love Reflection. Just whenever it's her want song.
Yeah, when she's in the temple.
Yeah, the problem is that it's such a short song. I don't even know if you can really count it as an actual.
You can count it, but it is kind of short.
It's like a minute long. It's like barely anything, and it bothers me a lot because her voice is so good.
Because the
and
girl
they just
that
never
sang
utilize it
for her was the same one that sang for Jasmine, correct? Did I see that somewhere
Now
weird?
that I don't know about.
Because it wasn't Ming Na Wen that she did the voice.
No, it was not
and it was
her.
like Donny Osmond was
the captain's voice for singing.
yeah.
I can't remember. Hold on one second. I'll get
B.D.
it.
Wong, who made those dinosaurs in Jurassic Park, he was the voice.
Yeah,
of
he
that.
was the scientist.
I think it has some really great moments that are just like really iconic for Disney films because this was one of the first ones that I think it really touched on like the actual horrors of war.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
That you never had really seen before.
Leah Salonga is Mulan's singing voice.
Okay.
Although I will say, and
What
I read
else
across,
did she do? Jasmine, or was she somebody
I
else?
meant to look at that. Sorry, I got distracted
you're okay.
immediately.
So just to real quick back up to me, just to be clear, I don't dislike this movie. I think this is a good movie. It sounds like I'm like hating on it. I'm not hating on it. I'm just trying to.
Aladdin, Jasmine singing.
She did?
voice, yes.
Okay. So yeah, like she's got chops.
Oh, yeah.
They should have given her more than a minute of the song.
And that's kind of the thing that bothers me about this film in general is that you really only have like 3 songs. And like the first one, the Matchmaker song's fine, but the Reflection's fantastic just because she has really great singing voice.
Yeah.
And then you have I'll Make a Man Out of You, which is obviously a truly iconic Disney song.
Yeah.
But then everything else, like you have the reprise at the end, which is fine. And then you have
Girl with Fighting.
Girl with Fighting For It, which is good because I like because you have
yeah.
kind of all the characters getting to sing together, which is really fun. But then you have like the stark end of like, oh, this is like real.
Yeah, the way it butts into that, I was like, I was not ready for it. I was like, oh. And I think to the movie's credit, like the way they handle, and we're getting a little bit into spoilers.
Get a
here,
little
Spoiler, yeah.
Getting risky here, a little frisky.
Yeah, we gotta, but it's Mulan. Come on. Yeah, like the way it handles war, the way it handles a lot of subjects is definitely more, I would say, advanced than other Disney movies.
Oh, for sure.
Especially of the ones, again, of the, when I say Disney movies, I'm using that as shorthand for the 90s Renaissance,
Yeah.
you know, the main 90s movies.
So the song Reflection was actually originally meant to be much longer in the movie, but they're deleted scenes because they were saving time because executives make terrible decisions.
I know, it's only an hour and a half movie. It's
it
like
feels
not that
short.
Kids
like,
can't sit still, Andrew.
That's not my problem.
they're all
true at
hopped up
all.
on jujubes. They're ready to run around. I don't know. What's a candy kids actually ate in the 98?
Milk duds.
Yeah.
Circus
Jujubes.
Circus peanuts.
Oh, gosh. That'll sit them kids down quick.
Yeah, well,
Talk about the horrors of war.
so I like this film a lot. I don't know, like I said earlier, I don't know that I would put it in my top 5 of Disney. And I do think maybe some of what Ryan was talking about, where he heard, you know, like people are so, oh wow, it's so great, is maybe because it's so different from a lot of what I would call the stereotypical Disney princess films.
For sure, yeah.
You know, Mulan goes out and handles her own business.
Well,
Yeah.
and she wasn't even a princess for the longest time.
No, she wasn't considered or whatever.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's where, you know, I was saying like I appreciate it more than I enjoyed it. Of like, I appreciate all these facts about it. Of like, wow, she's not just a princess. Wow, they're not following the same, you know, blueprint that they've done in a bunch of movies.
Well, and like, and she, I mean, this is not to knock on a lot of like other Disney females, but she definitely has like a lot of agency, where it feels like a lot of the other characters, particularly like Ariel and stuff like that, never really have any of that.
I mean,
Right.
back up to Sleeping Beauty. You know, I mean, her number one quality was that she's asleep for most of the film.
85% of the film.
like,
yeah.
man, the older I get, the better that sounds. Just being able to
Just
sleep for like
be able to
80 years. Oh, man.
I thought this was going in a completely different
I was
direction.
like,
I was like, oh, we're going to have to mute this.
Canceled, Ryan. You gotta edit that. Oh my goodness. Ryan,
No, I'm
can
saying-
you imagine if I could put my wife just to? Oh, man.
No. I'm saying me. I want to go to sleep for like 80 years. Give me that thorn or whatever puts her to sleep. Like,
You know,
man.
back in
I
the
think it's the spindle.
The spindle. I'd roll on a bed of spindles.
Back in the old days, Rip Van Winkle, sleeping for 40 years, that was a curse. And now in modern times, we're like, I could just sleep.
Man, I could disconnect and recharge for 40 years. Oh. Anyways. So you were saying you like the movie.
I like it a lot. I think it gets more play with a certain subset, and it hurts us a little bit. Obviously, you didn't see it back then.
No,
but for me, I was getting a little older, too cool for Disney movies.
See, I think I'm glad I waited to watch this because I think if I had saw this in '98, I would have either hated it or not liked it at all.
Yeah, because I was 12 when I saw this, so that was like pretty much the almost right demographic.
Did this come out in the summer of '98?
Presumably.
Yeah,
I was 15 going on 16. For perspective, '98. In 97, that's when I saw Akira for the first time.
Oh, yeah.
That's when I watched Ninja Scroll for the first time.
Yeah, going into this, probably the year after
June
that.
of 98. So
you probably would have been like, what is this?
Right, exactly.
So I was weak. The Japanese understand what animation is.
I was full edgelord in like 97 into 98.
So maybe it is a good thing that you
watched
waited
Mulan, I
this
studied
long,
the blade.
Right.
To where you have a little bit more of an appreciation for just kind of the more nuances of
for sure.
how they tell the story. And especially from the time, because it really was different for like 1998.
Yeah. Oh, I discovered Metallica's back catalog at this point. I was listening to like Master of Puppets for the first time, going like, yes.
What he didn't realize was he was actually, over here, make a man out of you. Yeah, Metallica, yeah.
Yeah.
Akira. You could cut your hair and run off to join the army, but before you do anything rash, why not bring honor to your family by listening to all of our previous episodes at spoilersanddinnitpodcast.com.
We also have a Discord that you can come and join us being honorable. And
join the army of fans on Discord.
We have all sorts of fun channels. You can come and chat about, just really anything, what you're cooking, what games you're playing, what stuff you're watching.
It's a great time. And we also have a Facebook and Instagram account. We would love it if you follow us over there. We post like what we're going to be reviewing coming up and some behind the scenes stuff. It's a fun time.
Once you find your center, you are sure to win. You're a spineless pale.
Pathetic lot.
I could just listen to that song all.
It's growing on me.
Yeah.
The more I hear it,
it's a catchy tune.
Yeah.
It is.
All right,
I want to know, whenever they're making these, do they know? Like,
do they know it's a hit?
Do you know that it's going to be like that of a catchy earworm?
See, I think that there's a certain point where once it's been played enough by the artists and they've done takes on it and stuff, and they're like like Donny Osmond's and they're banging out to it or whatever. They're like, we made something good here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There has to be an idea, right?
Yeah, you got to know.
I would imagine, there's like, they hear something, they go, that's definitely not it. And they hear something like, that's it.
We've done this 12 times today. It's just not working.
Yeah, well, because you always have to wonder whenever you have a band and they pick the main single for the album.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
It's like, well, that's their most popular one. But then there's some albums you listen to where you're like, oh, these other songs are way better than this.
Probably that's a lot of down to the record label.
Yeah.
There's probably a lot of people.
Oh, that's more marketable.
This is the one decision. Yeah. Anyways, we have made a man out of you, and you're ready to face spoilers. So here we go.
Here we are,
crossing the great wall of spoilers.
There it is.
I can do this all day.
Please don't.
Anything but that.
Let's jump into some trivia right off the bat. I was actually trying to find another piece of trivia that I had seen and didn't write down before this, but I don't know. Andrew knows all the songs. Maybe he can help me out. So the Matchmaker song that Andrew doesn't like.
I never said I didn't like it.
I think he said earlier that he hated it.
I said it was fine.
The worst ever.
Now, which one's the Matchmaker song?
Just the one at the beginning.
Oh yeah, where she's getting ready. She's in line after the bath. Yeah, got it. Yeah, that one's fine.
So there's a line in there about the greatest way to bring honor to your family is to strike a match.
Nice.
Which is how she brings honor to her family, because she strikes and lights the cannon.
Set off payoff.
So this movie is rife with that. So on her way to the Matchmaker sequence, she leans in on the game of, I'm going to call it chess, not chess, but Chinese
shogi.
chess, whatever. Yeah. As she moves the piece is the cannon.
Oh, interesting.
There is a ton of that.
Yeah.
Layered
just kind of like the little.
Yeah. And it's some of the stuff where, again, if you don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, for the Matchmaker song, it's just laid out for you. But maybe by the time you reach that point, you're just not thinking about it.
Yeah.
But,
See, yeah, my problem is I had forgotten that song because it's not great. By the time I got to the canon part, I'm like, oh, she's lighting a match. Never heard that phrase in this movie. Keep going.
So let's see some other stuff. So this is very loosely based on the Ballad of Mulan,
Okay.
which is a folk poem song type likely composed around 400 AD.
Wow.
So they're working off of a really, really ancient.
Like 20 or 30 years old.
Yeah, that's about how I feel some days. Like I was born in 400 AD. Let's see. So the Tai Chi form that Mulan's father starts.
It's practicing, yeah.
Yeah. That is Mulan Quan, which is a Tai Chi practice named after Mulan.
Wow.
Yeah, again, there's all
layers
these,
of layers.
There's
of
layers
layers
on this one, man. This is like an onion. Eddie Murphy would approve. So
He loves onions? I don't.
Shrek.
Oh, there it is. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Those are like onions.
I was trying to what?
So let's jump in. Let's see here. So Mulan was at the time, the second Disney princess to have both parents alive and present for the entire film.
But they didn't
Nice. What does
consider
that
her
say?
a princess for a long time. I think it was like 5 years or something.
They were like,
was a
one of her
while, yeah.
parents has got to die for her.
You're not an orphan? How can you be a princess?
Well, because I'm pretty sure, like in the second movie, they make her a princess.
Oh, really?
Just so she could be considered a princess,
Interesting.
they have high standards there. You got to.
which is
Yeah,
ridiculous.
like why? That doesn't. It's
Yeah.
a title.
So carry on with this theme. Mulan is the only Disney princess until at that point but until I can't remember which one it is. A little further up the line here, but the only Disney princess at the time not to kiss her love interest.
Oh.
Right, there are a lot of firsts and whatnots in here.
I wonder what other one would be after that. I mean, I guess like Wreck-It Ralph.
I
Because
don't
technically,
know if
princess,
that counts.
She's a princess.
She gets accepted by the princesses.
She is a
in,
princess. She's Princess Penelope.
So wait, was
she
Pocahontas
is.
considered a princess when it came out?
Yes, she was.
Okay. She probably definitely smooches the dude in that one.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah,
They
definitely John
smooch
Smith.
it all
yeah.
up. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember because I know when I saw this piece and I cut out when I was transferring it over, they mentioned Elsa, but at the time of release, she wasn't considered a princess.
She was not considered
Yeah.
a princess.
And then she made a bunch of money. Like, well, maybe you can be a princess.
Why was she not? Because she was just like,
She was queen.
oh, they need to like
skipped that
loosen
step.
up over
They're
there,
very
guys.
pedantic.
rules, yeah.
They're very pedantic.
Calm it down, okay?
So
Does Stephen Ford work over there? Come on.
So I'm gonna lay down. This is the Andrew play here, where we don't count Disney acquired properties for this one.
Yes.
Okay.
Right. Mulan is the Disney character with the highest body count ever,
Wow.
responsible for killing nearly 2,000 Huns.
Is it that many?
It
It's
is
a lot,
So the
yeah.
I would have
animation.
said like 200.
So the animation is 2,000 Huns
Yeah.
riding 2,000 horses, and she kills all but 6 Huns.
Yep.
Wow.
She's
Gosh,
a
that-
murderer.
That's got to weigh heavy on her, yeah.
Chopper was somewhere taking notes. He's like, oh man. So let's see maybe a little weirder thing here. The theme song and the opening credits, as well as the melody for "Honor to Us All," is the same tune that Peter Pan plays on his pan flute in the Disney
Really?
animated movie. Yes.
Oh, wow.
What a pull.
I haven't seen
Right? What
that
a weird. I
movie.
just saw
Why?
that. I was like, weird.
There was probably somebody in the music department played it because they used to play it and they're like, I love it, put it in the movie. And they're like, but this is, oh no.
Or it's like, hey, that one guy, he plays really good stuff. He only does one song. Yeah. But bring him into this. But
He's
he only
always
does
wearing
one
green
song.
tights. I don't know what that's about either.
Final piece of trivia here: Disney's first ever DVD to be released. It's
Oh, wow.
Mulan.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, that is around the time.
It's the right time. Yeah,
It would
November
have been like
1999.
99. Yeah.
Yep.
It's probably like $200 to buy or something.
It probably could be. I mean, all the VHS popped off like what, year and a half ago or something.
It didn't have to be like a specific box.
It
or
did have to be a
something.
specific like Disney box.
Yeah.
That was like only like limited run vault level
It was already-
stuff.
Yeah, it's one of those like before it was ever vaulted. If you bought it,
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
understand how people collect things. What's wrong with you?
Well, I mean,
Steven's house is just 4 white walls, like
Bare space.
nowhere to sit.
Well, it's funny too because like if you collect
Just liminal space.
if you collect VHSs, they're eventually just going to demagnetize and you can't watch them.
For sure.
And those
It doesn't work like
It's
that.
like all these
with Laserdisc.
hipsters collecting cassette tapes now.
Those
It's like,
just die when the sun sees them.
Yeah, you just don't show them to the sun.
Got to store them in a dank, moist area. Or your wine cellar, whichever is closest.
wine cellar.
Oh man.
But those big puffy VHS
Yeah.
covers for Disney, those things also do like weird stuff when they get old, right? They
do.
yeah.
Well,
like, fall
they
apart.
all yellow too.
Yeah.
Just because of the type of PVC.
There's
they were
no
made
telling
from.
what they were made of.
They're
Nothing
just
good.
off gassing cancer left and right.
Oh,
You kids are
probably.
worried about microplastics. Have you heard of macroplastics?
Actual plastics. All right, well let's get into some spoiler talk here.
Yeah.
Let's kick it off with your favorite scene. Andrew, you're supposed to have this down pat.
Well,
You're
see,
on
that's the
spot.
thing. It's really hard because I think my favorite scene is when they realize like the entire like first army of China was
it gets real.
Yeah, was destroyed.
So there's actually trivia to that too, right? So up until that point, it's a musical movie.
And then after that, there's no more musicals.
And the music fades out as the disaster happens. The music does not come back until they have found a plan to win.
Yeah.
Right? When we get a reprisal of the Make a Man Out of You as
Yeah.
they're dressing in drag. Right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I thought that was cool. Again, this movie's got some layers to it.
It does.
It does, yeah.
So, but I really like that scene because it's so different than any other Disney film up until that point.
Right. And there's been scenes in Disney films where like when Simba finds Mufasa dead. It's,
Yeah, or like when Bambi gets killed, or Fox and the Hound.
Bambi doesn't
and-
get killed.
or her mom gets killed.
Bambi shoots his mom. Yeah, we know. No, but it's the quickness that
Yeah.
it goes from like such a high to such a low is like
Well,
jarring.
also the way that it handles, because again, Disney has handled pretty heavy subject of this up to this point. You
Yeah.
got Lion King. That I mean,
Bambi, Fox and the Hound.
Bambi, Fox and the Hound.
First Rescuers was pretty dark.
First Rescuers
Yeah.
is really dark, actually. They have some really dark stuff, but this is the first one to really look at war.
Yeah.
And kind of the horrors. I mean, you have the bit where the Huns capture the 2 scouts.
Yeah.
Right? And he tells them, tell your emperor, yada, yada. And he sends them running. He's like, how many men does it take to deliver a message? And the guy's just 1. And like what a move. This movie's rated G.
I was waiting for it to cut back, and the guy that fell down, the other dude's like, I don't remember the message. He kept running.
What did he say?
He wrote it down.
Well, so that whole scene whenever they enter the burning village is, one of them picks up the doll, and it's like,
Mulan,
this is
Mulan picks up the doll. Yeah.
I mean, it's just implied. It's like, oh, this girl died.
Yeah.
Like, and it was not a good
And you
death.
already see the doll earlier with Shan Yu
Yeah.
when they're doing the scouting,
Yep.
right?
Well, and they say go search for survivors, and nobody comes back with any survivors.
there are no survivors
You know what I mean?
found. Yeah.
I think, and this is just the scene that like popped in my head when you said what's your favorite scene. That one, but
And
Andrew's already taken it.
that's impactful, right?
Yeah, it just hits.
I like when after she's discovered as a woman and they leave her there, and then Mushu has his whole like, I got to be honest, I'm not the dragon and the crickets. You're not a luck cricket. He's like, what are you, a sheep? And he says that to the horse. that was really good. That probably got the biggest laugh from me from the whole movie.
Mushu's initial introduction is really fun too.
Yeah.
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 Basically, everything that involves Mushu is
Yeah.
what I'm here for. From the bit where he, her first day in the army, he's got I got your porridge. Look at that. It is happy to see you.
Yeah.
Or like when they deliver the message to Chifu.
Yeah.
You've never seen a black and white
You
before?
never seen a black and white before? Then he just
Yeah.
the panda just climbs up the tree.
Yeah.
Like there's so many of those because again, it is a pretty heavy topic and tone. And for a lot of Mushu's parts, it's kind of light and fluffy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, they establish it pretty hard. Hey, like she's, gone to join the army as a woman and like
Almost
like
guaranteed death if they find out.
Punishment is death if
Right.
you find out, so we can't go and get her.
Yeah.
But like she's also a woman in the army. The likely outcome of this is death.
Yeah.
Like it's pretty heavy all around.
I think too, just while we're talking about heavy and like themes and stuff, I think one of the reasons that it's not that I don't enjoy it, but it's not as easy of a watch for me as some of the other stuff is because they are kind of dealing with like war. They're also dealing with like Mulan versus the patriarchy a little bit, you know, because
Yeah.
like tradition and like a woman's place and that kind of stuff.
So in the initial writing of the film, she ran off to join the army as like a protest of being forced to
Mary,
be in her role, right?
See, I like
And
that a lot less.
Well, no, they scrapped it because they're
Yeah.
like, this just makes her seem petulant and
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
hard to like.
I like. But what I was gonna say is that like the idea of a woman's role and that stuff isn't really fully explored in the movie necessarily. It's touched on.
You kind
but
of get
then
the condensed version with the matchmaker thing, where it's like the best thing you can
you
do
get
is
that,
marry well. Yada,
and then at the
yada.
end, you know, the emperor gives her the sword and the medal, but it's not like. And then China was cool with women. You know, like it's not like it.
Yeah.
There's no like arc, I guess, to it to that part of it more or less. It's just kind of like there, and so that for me is like. It's almost like in a Disney movie, though, you can't really get into it, especially in '98. That's pretty advanced.
Yeah, well,
stuff
and
to
there-
kind
Well,
of
especially
like,
when you're like, we really want China to like this
right,
movie.
that too. Yeah, like there's a lot of layers to why they wouldn't get into it. So I'm not faulting it for it. I'm just saying more that like
Yeah, the runtime also definitely because like they really needed it to be an hour 30 at the longest.
Yeah.
I think it's not even that.
I think it's like almost right on the dot.
But just because of that, like you can't have a lot of like I'll say like
Hour 27.
expository dialogue to kind
Right.
of explain.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
they took a really good song and cut it short
right
for
Yeah,
runtime.
to make
which,
room.
again, hour 27, guys. You could have left the extra 2.5 minutes in there.
Yeah.
It would have been fine.
Yeah.
The kids would not have lost interest.
Yeah.
This is the same kind of people who made the decision where they are trying to cut the Little Mermaid, her song.
Part of your world.
Part of your world.
Yeah, Part of Your World,
They
yeah.
were trying to cut that because they thought kids would find it boring, and they wouldn't.
Oh man, that's like literally like the most iconic song of
These are
the
the same
film.
people making these levels of decisions. So, like, I'm not giving them much credit here.
No, and that's why you were like, do they know when they have a hit on your hands? I'd be terrified to know of the great songs that they've like, cut it stinks, that are probably just out in the trash bin
just
somewhere.
existing somewhere. Like, this is such a banger.
I think for me too, another thing that detracts this movie from some of the other ones, like makes it not in my top 5, if you will, would be the villains, because I love a good strong villain like a Jafar, like a Scar. Well, I don't even remember the name of the Hun
Shan Yu?
bad guy.
Shan
Shan
Yu.
Yu. Okay.
Because it's not Attila the Hun because they
No,
can't use
They
Yeah.
couldn't really go that hard. Yeah.
But like they don't really give him any characterization other than just I'm bad.
He's a bad guy.
Yeah, and it works. It's just I think again I appreciate what they're doing with the story and it makes sense for what they're trying to tell. I just like a really good bad guy.
so-
you know,
It's interesting you bring this up, right? Because I think as a villain, he's a really good villain, right? I mean, I talked about the whole, how many men does it take to deliver a message? Like, he is.
Oh,
just,
yeah.
like,
There's good moments
this
like
dude's
that.
a dirtbag.
So I think the thing here, and then you can finish.
Thank you.
we have 3 interruptions in a row.
Well, I think it's
Stack 'em
really
on
the
top of each
fact
other.
that it's that for him to do the things that he does in the film, like murder an entire village and an entire army, imply that he killed a kid, that kind of stuff, he can't have any characterization.
You can't make him as
You cannot make
You're right.
any kind of amount of like.
We're not here
sympathy.
to humanize him.
Yeah,
I mean,
Right,
he's got kind of weird eyes,
Yeah.
very sharp, almost snake-like features.
yeah.
For sure. I just, to me, he was like, because of the story they told, like you're saying,
Yeah.
he's very serviceable. But like, you know,
He's a good bad guy to be a bad guy.
like Jeremy Irons as Scar.
Yeah, well, but
What
that's
a
the thing,
performance,
though. Like
you know,
he's
like-
not Jafar.
No, he's
but
not.
because Jafar,
Or sorry,
you can basically like not sympathize with him, but you can at least see that he is a person.
You understand
Right, yeah.
why he's doing what he's doing.
Yes.
You don't necessarily agree with it.
yeah,
Right.
Also, there's no villain song for Shan Yu, which I can't imagine what they would have written for this man. Personally. Like, I don't like what song do you
It'd be
give
called
him?
like, how many messengers does it take? That'd be
yeah.
where it would be inserted.
I mean, like you reference, something like Scar, right?
Yeah.
You get his song, and
Yeah.
it's his want song. You understand his drive and what he's going
Yeah.
for. Like the plan's laid out for you. What is the plan for Shan Yu? I don't know. Kill the emperor? Well, but
Right.
you're in the middle of China. There's millions of people all around you. Like, what have you actually accomplished?
Well, and then once they
No
get him,
idea.
it's like, so
Where you going?
hostage or
Yeah,
what
like,
are we?
what's
are you
the
going
plan
to
here?
negotiate?
Well, I think at that point, like, I mean, obviously he fully intended to just invade the city
For sure.
with his 2,000, men and horses.
Presumably he had more than that before.
Hypothetically,
the
yeah.
battle at the
Right,
the
yeah,
village,
But the big thing is that after Mulan kills this entire army, essentially, I think it's just pride at that point.
It's
Oh,
just
for sure.
spite.
Yeah,
It's
like
just spite,
he's just
Mad.
spite. Yeah. What else were you going to say, Steven? I probably got you off track. I'm
Oh,
sorry.
you got me way off track. It was the villain song was
Yeah.
the point that I was going for. Was
Okay.
We're talking about for a really, really good villain, you've got to really understand how they work and function. Like I think of something like
Yeah.
what Dr. Facilier, Princess and the Frog.
Oh man, it's been a long time
Right,
since I've
but
seen
Well,
he
they
has
like Ursula and Little
fantastic
Mermaid.
song. Ursula,
She's got a good song.
She's got a good song.
it. Hades doesn't have a song, does he?
No, but I don't.
But Meg
Hercules
has a
is-
song.
Yes, but Hercules is really a musical, so it is kind of funny that Hades doesn't really get a song.
Yeah.
but you don't really need it because he's so expository by just
He is.
existing.
Yeah. I'm trying to
I'm trying to
think
come
of
up with
some other
of the
ones.
others.
Yeah, and it's not a big
Jafar?
knock.
Does
It's just
Jafar have a
something.
song?
No, he doesn't.
I think
No.
that's.
but you get to him talking with Iago.
Yeah.
you get
Right.
really a good idea.
I think for me, that's why I watched it a second time. Which my wife wanted to watch it too, and she couldn't the night I watched
okay.
it. So I was
That's
like,
very rude of you to
I
do
just-
that to
I mean,
her.
it's
it
only
on-
an hour and a half.
It really. I put it on
It's
during
so
dinner, and we
short.
just kept watching the whole thing. But that was what I wanted to watch it a second time because I was like, man, I was expecting a villain that was memorable that had a song. You know what I mean? Like I already
Yeah,
have the predisposed idea of what a '90s Disney movie is going
Kind
to
of
be.
was, yeah.
Well, and I will say too, Shan Yu as a Disney villain is really, really, really like a D or C tier villain in like their promotions.
Oh, for sure.
When you have
Absolutely.
Disney
Yeah.
villains, you've got Cruella.
Oh, you never
Ursula,
see.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
You're not
not
going to see
iconic.
Sean Yu.
Yeah, you just don't. Shan Yu isn't just in the group photo, right? He
Yeah.
didn't make it to the 10-year reunion.
Right.
No one knows what happened to him.
Yeah. Well, because that's the thing is like they didn't characterize him because he didn't need to be characterized at
It's just
all.
the personification of war.
I agree with you. That's why they did it. Now that you've said it, it makes perfect sense. Of like, why would you give this guy a fun tap dancey song when he's about to kill a bunch of people?
Breaks out the cane and top hat.
Yeah.
Yeah, you really just can't give those kind of characters any kind of agency for the audience to like latch onto.
Yeah.
He just needs to be a bad guy that our protagonists have to overcome.
Yeah.
He's just basically a force of nature.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, kind of works because he doesn't die to the avalanche because he is the avalanche.
Yeah.
You know?
I am the
I am the avalanche.
Yeah. So the only part of this movie, because like the plot, I feel it. I mean, it's really tight for what it is. The only thing that always bothers me is the fact that they can shoot a single arrow with one rope and they hold up a horse and a woman off of a cliff
With a man.
with a man on it.
Which
Yeah.
when I saw that scene.
And I know it's Disney, but I'm like, man,
No, when I saw that scene as it happened, I went, Bahubali.
Dude, I had a moment when Yao, when he first talked, I was like, David, I gotta call my lawyer. I was like, that's Harvey Firestein. I was like, what's he doing in here? Independence Day. The Shifu, James Hong, right?
Yes.
His character. I felt like too, like he was a good foil of like he was the bureaucrat that was trying to keep a lot
well,
of
he's
things.
basically the patriarchy.
I felt like, and this is, kind of like, again,
bureaucracy. Yeah.
expecting like the Disney tropes. I thought for the longest he was going to be in on it with
Sean Yu.
Sean Yu.
He
Like-
opened the side door.
because it was
whatever.
like he's the perfect like sidekick villain, because like he's
little
working
bit,
this
yeah.
angle here, he's working this angle
He's also
here.
kind of a weasel.
Yeah, like he
Yeah.
had that vibe, and after it got a little ways into, I was like, oh no, he's just like
He's just that
foil.
kinda guy,
I
yeah.
caught on early, but that my first impression was like, oh, this guy's gonna be, like the
You're
inside
like, he's
man.
going to be the LeFou to Sean Yu's Gaston or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah. Or he's gonna be the one that like he's the betrayer. He's how they got through the wall. He's how you know what I mean, something to that effect.
No, he's just, the plague that exists in every organization. Just a busybody who got
Yeah.
there somehow now you can't get rid of them.
I do like at the end whenever the Emperor is like, "Oh, I could use some advisors on my council." He's like, "But there are no
open spots.
There's no open spots." Well, she can have yours.
Have your spot.
I like the grandma too, especially because she finds the lucky cricket.
Yeah.
It goes in,
Like,
goes
let's
into
find
the-
out if
into
it's
the
lucky.
road.
But then at the end, when she's like, "Sign me up for the next war," after the guy comes home.
Yeah, you brought home all these things except for a
I really liked the scene too, where when she does come home and she presents the medal and the sword to her father. He's
I was
like,
literally
"Yeah,
about to
cool.
say that.
Put this trash down. You're my baby."
Yeah.
And I was like, because I think that was another thing that was weird, not weird for me, but like it took me the second viewing to kind of wrap my head around. Was like, for me, the most powerful emotional core is her relationship with her dad.
Yeah.
It's what spurs the adventure on at the front, and then it has the best resolution at the end. And it feels like you get none of that in the middle. Like, we don't even cut back to the parents to see him worried or see her thinking about her dad, really. It's just like, in the middle, she's doing her own thing, and then she's back at the end. So for me, that's the highlights of the emotional parts at the front and the end.
Well, because you really get that moment after she fails the matchmaking test and all that kind of stuff, and then he puts the flower in her hair, and you're like, "Oh man, this is like hitting." And then at the end, whenever like she gives him all the trophies of war, he's like, "I don't care about any of this
he's
stuff."
like, "Whatever."
Like, the only honor
Put it in the garage.
is you.
Yeah, and that always gets me. It's a really good moment.
Yeah.
and you really don't get to see that in a lot of Disney films because most of the parents are always dead.
The
Right,
simple solution, kill at least one of them.
Maybe that's why it felt so different. Was because like a lot of the parents are gone.
I mean,
in
like,
most-
She came from a supportive 2-member family household.
Yeah.
I mean,
What kind of Disney princess are you?
what is this?
I mean, yeah, because I guess you have King Triton and Little Mermaid, but she's just kind of a petulant teenager.
But her mom
Yeah.
isn't there.
Yeah.
Her mom's dead. You have Jasmine, where her mom's dead.
Yeah.
Right? Like, this is just happens over and over and over again.
Yeah.
All right. Well, it does sound kind of like we're winding down here.
Yeah.
I mean, recommend, rewatch. I mean, Ryan's already rewatched it.
Yeah, I rewatched it like within 24 hours.
Yeah.
I think for me, I probably wouldn't go out of my way to rewatch it. But if someone like my wife was like, "I want to watch Mulan," I would in no way object. I'd be like, "Yeah, throw it on."
I mean,
Yeah.
I'll throw this on pretty much whenever we're like, "Oh, let's throw something on and do something like build models or whatever." So it's just music I can listen to and sing along to and show up. Pop up in my head whenever I enjoy watching, see the scene that I like.
I mean, the important thing is that it's not 2020 Mulan.
Oh yes. No,
Oh, by the way, I watched 30 minutes of that.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Just out of curiosity,
why?
after I'd seen the animated one twice, I was like, I wonder how bad it really is. I started it and like 30 minutes was as much as I could take.
So
Like I was viscerally, I'm not even a huge Mulan fan, and I was like, oh, this is. They understood nothing about Mulan.
So it's the 2020 Mulan for the live action is one of those films to where it's not so bad it's good. It's so bad it's bad, but it's so bad it's unwatchable. Bad.
You know when I turned it off? So first off, the whole thing
Never
is
seen it, yeah.
she has
Anyways.
chi. She's a warrior. She's basically crouching
So
tiger, hidden
this is-
dragon.
This is supposedly much more accurate to the actual
Don't
folk
care.
story.
What? I don't
But
care.
whatever.
Because my favorite part of the cartoon too, I didn't even mention this, is that she's kind of a screw up.
Oh, yeah.
Like she's not good at like most
anything,
things.
yeah.
Yeah. And I like that. Like that's cool. I like that we don't have this like ultra heroine going on.
She's very much so a work smarter, not harder.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, she immediately is like, I'm too good at everything. I guess I'll just become better at it, And then they start doing the whole the conscription thing of like we need one man, and like that whole scene was nowhere near as good, and I'm like, this stinks. And then when they got to the thing where they're checking in with the army, and there's this just random dude who just turns to the guy and goes, "My mom says I'm lucky. She calls me Cricket." I go, "Bye." And I just, because he's not a cricket. Obviously, they're not going to put Mushu in it, but he just turns to this guy and just deadpan, "My mom says I'm lucky. She calls me Cricket." And I was like, and end. I'm out.
I just
Goodbye.
remember when it came out where they're like, there's not going to be any songs in it. I'm like, well, that's a bold take.
Right.
And then they're like, also, Mushu's not there. It's like, what are we making?
But then they still have magic in it, and like it's
It's
not
weird.
good. It's not.
It's weird.
Anyways, we're not talking about that one. We're not recommending that one at all.
No.
We're not rewatching it or watching it at all.
We're not even going to do a commentary on that one. I forbid it.
I don't know, man. That could be.
Nope. Where's my veto? Where's my stamp?
Where's your no button? No. All right. Well, before we let y'all go, we got to talk about the single best way you can support our show through the Patreon.
For just $1 a month, you can get access to all of our bonus episodes, movie commentaries,
aforementioned
Patreon
commentaries
picks, polls.
that will not feature Mulan.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Mulan 2020.
2020.
But really, the Patreon for just $1 a month, really, it's cheaper than a cup of coffee.
It's cheaper than-
and it's only one time a month.
It's like a fifth of a cup of coffee.
Cheaper than most candy bars. It's cheaper than most
is, it is
anything
actually,
nowadays.
yeah.
Like a vending machine and a Coke's like $1.50.
Yeah.
Oh, easy.
$2.25. Like,
Yeah.
oof.
But really, I mean, it keeps the lights on. It really helps
Yes.
us.
We love
you know,
all of our
keep
patrons.
Keep the gear up to date. But honestly, we have a lot of fun with our bonus content. They're different
Yeah.
than what's normally on the feed. We do stuff with ChatGPT, which is really fun and off the wall. We do rankings.
I
all
know
sorts of
we
fun
talked
stuff.
about we fought presidents, we fought monarchs, we talked about fighting CEOs. What about fighting like Disney villains?
Ooh, we could do
okay.
that.
That'd be another good one.
There's
right?
more than enough Disney
There's
villains to
plenty
do.
in there. Yeah,
Yeah.
Sean
That'd be
Yu,
good.
hands down, just gonna win. I'm sorry, I can't.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, Sean Yu's built like a truck.
That dude's gonna drop
Oh,
down.
I thought
from-
you were saying you would
Oh,
win. I'm
no!
like, hold on.
That dude's-
What kind
that's
of
gonna be
Krav
one of those
Maga do
where,
you know?
Where like his like intro reel is him dropping down from the roof. Like, yep, you win. All right, we're done.
He literally just like bare bones jumps through a roof.
Yeah.
Like just wholesale.
Yeah. Barely an
Oh.
inconvenience.
And if you can't afford the dollar, another great way to support us would be to follow us on our socials,
Yeah.
leave us a review wherever you're listening now, and share us with a friend. But until next time, I'm Steven,
I'm Andrew.
And I'm Ryan.
and every spoiler was intended.